Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Investments Landscape discussion stream powered by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. To moderate the panel, the general partner at Almaz Capital, a venture capital investing in startups from Silicon Valley through the Baltics and Eastern Europe. Welcome to Pavel Bogdanov. Next, an entrepreneur and venture capital investor focused on technology ventures in Turkey and Central and Eastern Europe since 2006. He is currently a partner at Earlybird Venture Capital. Welcome to Setoglu.
What is it?
Next, with a proven record on the mature and emerging European markets, we are happy to welcome next on stage Orange Ventures, Antoine Maurel. Next, responsible for leading investment activities across Eastern Europe, Russia, the Middle East and Africa, he is currently Managing Director of Intel Capital. Please give a noisy welcome for Marcin Hejka. Previously, Bakhrom was leading investments in European and US technology companies with Virgin Green Fund, and later took a role at Virgin Media. Even later in his career, he took him to become operations leader at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Welcome to Bakhrom Ibragimov. Next, with a focus on Central and Eastern European investments, the total accumulated assets of 3TS Venture Capital exceed 300 million euro. Next, to jump on the stage of CEEDS, welcome Svetoslav Stefanov, Investments Manager of 3TS Capital. Previously, he's been actively helping in building strong entrepreneurship society in Romania, co-organizing School for Startups Romania, the first Southeast European entrepreneurship school. Last but not least, on the stage, welcome to Marius Ghenea, Senior Advisor of 3TS Capital. The discussion will last 30 minutes. We invite the investors to remain on the stage after the discussion for questions from the audience and startups.
Hello. Okay. So welcome everybody to this panel. Thank you for staying late for this discussion. We see that actually a lot of people have left. But I think now it's a really special panel for you. We have been discussing before we started the people who are speaking here, and it turns out that probably 80 to 90% of institutions that have more than 100 million euros dedicated to this area are represented right now on the stage. So like a couple of funds we could name that are not here, but this is it, guys. So if you're looking to raise capital and meaningful capital, this is the group of people you should talk to. So let's start the panel by having the panelists introduce themselves. So maybe I'll start as a moderator first and introduce myself. My fund, Almaz Capital, was launched in 2008. We initially invested in venture capital, in venture companies outside of the former Soviet Union. We had done deals in Russia, Ukraine, etc., and with a very specific mandate to help those companies grow globally. So the fund has a strong office in the US at Silicon Valley. We have 5 guys in the US. We have 7 guys in Moscow. And since a couple of years ago, we have started to actively look at opportunities to invest capital in Eastern Europe. We have closed the deal in Czech Republic late last year, and we're looking to do more deals in this region. So very happy to be here. And let's start maybe with Bakhrom.
Sure, thanks. I'm sure you have heard about EBRD. EBRD is a big bank which operates for the past 20 years across 30 plus countries of the Eastern Europe and Turkey, Northern Africa. What I think not many people know that about 2 years ago we set up a VC fund within EBRD. It's 100 million euros to do technology venture capital investments across those countries, specifically focusing on the Central Eastern Europe, Turkey, Middle East. Today we have a portfolio of 6 across those markets, and we are actually looking for more investment opportunities. Our investment size is between 1 to 10 million euros, so we invest into companies starting from Series A to growth equity. That's pretty much about us.
Marcin?
I'm representing Intel Capital. We are an investment arm of Intel Corporation, and everyone knows Intel as a CPU manufacturer or silicon products manufacturer, but we are also an investor, an active venture investor. We believe we are one of the most active venture investors focused on technology space. I've been managing Intel Capital operations in emerging parts of EMEA, including Central Eastern Europe, Russia, Turkey, Middle East and Africa since '99. And over this time, we have made probably around 60 investments in the region and invested few $100 million. The region has been highly successful for us. We had a number of very successful exits, including Yandex, MolCZ, Parallels, LogMeIn, Centrum, and we've been investing globally in around 100 companies every year, and we are looking to invest more in this region.
Good afternoon. I'm Marius. I'm a serial entrepreneur and business angel based in Bucharest, Romania. Over time, I've started and or invested in about 20 companies in Romania and the region, all across the Balkans actually. And recently I've joined the 3TS team. We have a fund in Romania. It's called Catalyst Romania. It's a Jeremy fund. So with that one, we already invest VC money in the range of $500,000 to $1.5 million in some 4 or 5 projects in a relatively short period of time, starting last year. And we're looking for new projects, but I'm also busy with the larger fund of 3TS. I think Sveto will talk more about that, a fund that is investing across the region and in CEE, so including Bulgaria. Thank you.
Antoine Maurel, so I represent Orange, the French MNO, which is European and African as well. And we have just launched a new fund, which is named a corporate fund, which is named Orange Digital Ventures. It's been only 2 months, so there's no investment yet to announce. They are in the pipes. And I'm here because we want to be everywhere where we can find good developers, and I think this is the case in Eastern Europe, so that's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Jem Sartolo. I'm a partner with Earlybird Venture Capital. We're one of the larger European VC funds, and we have a recent fund that's $150 million that's dedicated to Turkey and Central and Eastern Europe. We're about a year old on that fund and have 6 investments to date, with 1 here in Sofia. So excited to be here. We're very excited about the region.
I'm investment manager with 3TS Capital. My colleague Marius already spared a couple of words. 3TS is a cross-regional fund investing in Central Eastern Europe from the Baltics down to Turkey, with 6 offices across the region. The fund invests usually in a growth equity stage, whereas we can do also a bit earlier or later investments. In terms of track record, the company has been investing since 1989. This is the 4th fund that we are just managing, which is a 108 million fund. Already about like 1/3 of the capital is invested, actively looking for opportunities right now. Very excited to be here and meet all of you who would be interested to speak after the session.
So thank you guys, first of all, coming here to Bulgaria. It's not a huge country, right? Under 10 million people, less than 8 million actually, I believe. And we have like what, 6 firms here that can deploy over 10 million a year easily in venture capital in the market. Do you think there's enough deals in this market to support this much firepower? And if yes, what kind of deals do you see in the region that can really make you guys to pull on the strings and invest? Marcin, you want to start? That's a great answer.
Couple of comments. So we are not focusing on Bulgaria only. You know, each of us is a regional investor, and if we take a look at the regional opportunity, there's one element that is making the region unique, and this is the talent. The quality of engineering, the quality of software development here is enormous. So basically, you know, there's no kind of, you know, objective way to measure talent. But if you take a look at any results of international programming competitions, you know, top coder competition, etc., you will see that programmers and software engineers from Central Eastern Europe, including Bulgaria, typically rank very close at the top or very close to the top. So we very much believe in the regional opportunity. I would say that Bulgaria is probably quite similar in terms of characteristics to many other countries in the region. So significant intellectual potential and relatively small size. So which also impacts the opportunities we are looking at. And most of those opportunities, if we take a look at our portfolio, most of those opportunities are basing on very high quality of software development, but are targeting foreign markets. Because basically, probably no single market in Central Europe is sufficiently big to guarantee kind of large-scale exit for any of the investors present at this table. But in general, we are absolutely looking at Bulgarian opportunities, the same as we are looking at opportunities from Estonia, Romania, Slovakia, Poland, Czech Republic, and we are actively investing in all those countries. And we believe that actually for technology investors, the quality of engineering, the quality of software development is the key element, and this country is definitely rich in this element.
Just perhaps to complete the words of my colleague from Intel, so we are both from a corporate fund, so it's a slightly different way to invest from a classic VC. There's no borders in innovation. Basically, you are looking for good developers, and they can have an idea, and if there is the ecosystem, the investments, perhaps the mentoring, and the way to extend to other countries, it can come from anywhere. So I don't have specific leads today in Bulgaria. We are present as an operator in Romania, in other countries in Eastern Europe, like Poland, for instance. So obviously we are scouting a lot in these countries because there are a lot of good developers. We have some leads, and I hope that we will be able to do investments in these countries. But the final objective of this investment is to scale it to Europe.
If I may, I think obviously none of the individual countries in the region, maybe with the exception of Poland, have the large enough project pool to cater for even a medium-sized VC fund, say 100 million euro VC fund in terms of number of projects and deals. However, and probably this is why we see a number of VC funds which are more regional focused, let's say, than country focused. However, there are a lot of opportunities for regional funds as well as for local funds. Our example is a Jeremy fund that is specific for Romania. I think also Romania wouldn't have the size for a larger, let's say, VC fund just for Romania. What I see as an important opportunity, and we are trying to tap into that opportunity as we speak, is the fact that we have a number of small fragmented market, but if we can put those together like in a puzzle, we can make something that is obviously having much more value, and then obviously has much more value for an exit, much more value for the shareholders, for the stakeholders. So instead of one small fund or big fund invests in a I don't know, in a food app in Bulgaria, and in a food app in Romania, and a food app in Macedonia, maybe we can contribute actively to consolidate such markets, such verticals, and then it makes more sense. Or Turkey, for instance, and Bulgaria and Romania, Bulgaria and Serbia, with the only caveat that when you go outside the European Union, there are a bit other implications. But within the European Union, say Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, you can create, and then further going to Czech, Slovak, or Poland, you can create some synergies. And I think that's something that even a lot of the Bulgarian entrepreneurs should and could consider.
Yeah, if absolutely can second the opinion of my colleagues. So the curse of a small country size is actually also a blessing, which just should force entrepreneurs from early on to think globally, think international. Because each of these markets, if you take it from the perspective of an exit, which is this is the goalpost. So you should start thinking backwards. So if you think from the point of view of an exit, the only scenario which makes sense is really to try creating an international company. So in that sense, the small country size and the small size of the local market is a curse, but it's also a blessing which should catalyze exactly the building of a setup from an early outset towards creating a global and international company.
Mm-hmm. And Pasha, you asked about the number of companies and whether that's sufficient to warrant this kind of capital being committed to the area, to the region. I also think that that's a cluster issue as well. If you look at how global innovation gets driven around the world, again, if the main tech clusters like Silicon Valley or New York or Berlin or London, Stockholm maybe, etc., these guys are obviously producing more than their fair share of tech companies. But I don't think it's a coincidence because there's that cluster effect. So I think the more capital that gets deployed in Central and Eastern Europe will create more startups, which hopefully end up in more exits, which then get some of these serial entrepreneurs to, one, invest back into the region, into supporting smaller startups, etc. So the overall quality of the entrepreneurial activity goes up. I think if we sat around this room in 10 years ago, we'd be a much smaller group, and I remember when I first made my investment in Turkey, I asked my lawyer, how do I make a minority investment in a Turkish company? His answer was, you don't, because they'll take advantage of you and abuse you. I'm very happy I didn't take his advice, but it's how quickly that has changed. I mean, this panel is a great manifestation of the big change that we've seen in the region over the last 5, 6 years.
Thank you, guys. I think the big theme sort of emerged from your answers that companies, to be attractive to capital, have to think beyond local borders. This is very much consistent with what we do as a fund, Almaz Capital. Our main target is type of companies that start in a small market like Bulgaria, but from the day one think about global business opportunities and start selling to US customers, since US is the largest IT market in the world, and then we can help those companies grow and scale and compete. So I just wanted to emphasize this point and ask for a show of hands. Who will invest in a company that targets just Bulgarian market on the stage? Okay. Will anybody invest in a company that targets Bulgaria plus Romania market? But that's it. Just these two. Okay. So this is it's interesting. You guys have seen the startups there, and you see the investors, and it's interesting that for larger investors, you need to have a global story. And when companies are born, they typically solve initially a problem that they see domestically in front of their eyes, and that's very natural. And we hope we are here as well to talk to you, to talk to entrepreneurs, and to ask you to think bigger and set your eyes on the global challenges. So to switch gears, we discussed that we're looking at big potential global opportunities. Can you guys talk about technological areas that you think will be attractive for you as investors in the next year or next couple of 2-3 years? Bakhrom, maybe you can jump on that.
Sure. I mean, in terms of technologies, we do not have any particular focus, but we're obviously looking for opportunities which can scale, as we spoke before, which can scale large across a number of countries. The current wave, the current kind of trend is exploring the mobile, right, and mobile applications around it. I would argue that all the current kind of unicorns, how they call, they're all enabled by the mobile smartphone devices. If we talk about, so that trend continues. There is a lot still has to happen. Subsequently to that, I think obviously there is one area that everybody talks about, Internet of Things, and these should enable number of applications, number of the deployments, and those deployments will be in areas that in all the areas of the economy. They will be in healthcare, in education. So I guess Internet of Things is something that is exciting. The other obviously thing is this distributed capability to process data. The big data applications are still kind of yet to be deployed. We also like specifically SME solutions as a software solutions for SMEs. We think that a lot of the IT is not being best deployed by the SMEs, and both the Internet of Things and the cloud enables that essential technology to be transferred to the SME level.
We have identified around 10 focus areas in terms of technology sector, and those are security, which is one of the main ingredients of any technology application, including IoT. Yeah, so if you drive a driverless car, you wouldn't want anyone to hack into it while you're on the motorway driving high speed. So security, big data software, as well as open data center, big data, IoT, wearables and new devices, open source and services, education, I'm sure I forgot something, but I believe this is most of it. And as you could see, actually, significant majority of our focus is software related.
In terms of the ideal verticals, we'd like to see the intersection between IoT and mobile apps, because ideally, if you have Internet of Things and then you enable that with mobile apps, I think you have something potentially great. And we're looking at such projects at the moment. Then again, cloud, big data are of interest. We are still considering investments in e-commerce. We think, especially across this region, the potential for annual growth is so explosive for a number of years to come that it makes a difference in terms of the growth gradient compared to, let's say, Western Europe or the US. So you can actually grow much faster and still make a scalable business, even though e-commerce is posing some question marks at the moment. So these would be the, let's say, 3-4 areas that I would be very keen to invest in and see projects around those areas.
As Intel, we are looking at investment thematics, which is in line with our strategy. That's obvious, because we won't invest in e-commerce, for instance. I mean, e-commerce is great. There is a great growth opportunity. You can find scaling startups with $1 billion valuation, but there's no sense for Orange for this. So we will invest in companies which match with our strategy. So basically, all what's about network and communication. This is our core business. but always about as well the B2B business we have. So big data is one of the big area we have. Smart cities, IoT, obviously, and all what's about our adjacencies, as we call it, like fintech, for instance, because we have ambitions in payment and mobile banking. So obviously we are looking at it.
We're quite agnostic about sectors or verticals. We think we're geographically focused, so we might as well be sort of more broad thinking in our verticals and sectors. So if there's a big problem being solved using innovative technology, we are likely to invest in it.
So I'm personally a bit biased in terms of Internet of Things and big data, but I don't want to hack the panel on that topic. So again, what we like to see is not the Me Too type of companies, but like some companies which have like deep technology. And 3TS being on the market for a long time with most of our colleagues having very deep technology expertise and having started their careers also as engineers and technology marketing people. So we don't fear of really like looking into deep technology, and we also think we understand it. So in that sense, what is really attractive, yes, there are good stories also in e-commerce. We don't dismiss them, but we really like really deep, disruptive, transformative technologies. And also just to add on that side, I mean, everybody from the people here, I think, would agree that it's not only about the money. I think in technology investing, there is also a lot of this, I would say, future thinking and a little bit of striving just to support the transformation of our society towards a better world, towards a world which runs more efficiently, where things are possible or will be possible which are not possible today. And this radical transformation can be achieved only through something which does not exist now. So we cannot solve future problems with past thinking and with companies' business models and technologies from the past. So the only way to go forward is also to think forward and to anticipate how can we get to the next step.
I have another microphone. So it looks like this year Internet of Things has replaced big data finally as a new keyword for VCs, so very good. We're also interested in Internet of Things as a fund. We're looking for internet security companies. We're looking for cloud-in-a-box solutions that allow you to enjoy the benefits of virtualization in a smaller, more granular fashion. And we're also looking at technologies that have to do with data storage analytics. Data growth is still there. So those are the themes. I just wanted to switch the panel from theoretical discussion of what VCs do to some practical discussion. Could you guys tell us about some stories, success stories, or just stories from your portfolio or with the companies from the region that you have invested in, that you have helped grow and develop?
Yes, so we kind of we focus on helping founders to build large regional leaders. So in our portfolio, we have one of the largest fashion e-commerce businesses in Russia, one of the largest fashion e-commerce business in Turkey. We have the largest web conferencing software operator in Russia. One of our last investments has been into the actually multi-regional largest in their vertical marketplace. So the key for us is finding very strong founding team which goes for a large opportunity and helping them grow. And helping them grow, a lot of people, you're asking how do we kind of engage? A lot of people say, well, you do introductions, you do kind of help strategy, you help do that. We do that, and everybody actually does that. My view is that the key function of the VC is helping to preserve founder vision. It's not about us. You need to have a very strong founder. You need to really buy into the founder and helping him kind of help focus on the vision, drive his, actually help him protect his own culture, his own vision, and support his own vision. Everything else comes to the cherry on the top in terms of introductions, kind of strategy advice, right? I think that's kind of subtle, simple, but subtle point.
Yeah, I believe it's actually damn responsibility of investor to support the management, to support the founders, to support growth of companies, they invest into. Basically, to the extent that if investor is not able to help entrepreneur, the investment should not happen. And basically, every investment decision is a two-way process. So on the one hand, investors should be doing due diligence and understanding the strength of the team. On the other hand, the entrepreneur should be looking at the investor and trying to understand whether this is the right investor for what I want to achieve. Is this specific investor able to help me in achieving my objectives? Is this investor the right investor for to help me to grow? And in reality, the answer to this question is much more important than the valuation. Because at the end of the day, what matters is not the valuation and when at the time investment happens, but the valuation at exits. Because typically founders don't sell existing shares, yeah? And with this introduction, where we are able to add value. One area where we believe we are able to specifically help is international expansion. So one of the most important thing, for a company is to, when expanding internationally, is to open doors to the right partners, to the right customers. And we all know, that for a Central Eastern European startup to open the door and to start collaboration with any major kind of US or Western European company, it's not easy. And having solid investor, like pretty much anyone sitting in this panel, and more specifically like Intel, is really going to make this process much easier. And this is clearly demonstrated by the percentage of international successes we have in our portfolio. So I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I will just mention a couple. AVG, which is a Czech security company. When we invested, the company was relatively small and was operating mainly in Czech Republic. When we exited through roughly $1 billion IPO on New York Stock Exchange, the company already had like 54% of its revenue coming from North America and having more than 100 million users. So Czech company had 10 times more users than the entire population of their home country. If you take a look at LogMeIn, which was our co-investment with 3TS, it was the company went public on Nasdaq. Hungarian company. It was a Hungarian startup which became one of the leading company in their segment globally in remote PC management. If you take a look at other companies from our portfolio, Parallels is one of the leading virtualization software companies globally. Even very early stage companies. So we are not talking just about companies that have like tens of millions of dollars of revenue, but at least initially. But if you take a look at two very early stage kind of seed stage investments we did, Speak to It, Russian startup doing natural language processing and natural language understanding technology. When we invested, the company had roughly 500,000 downloads, and within a year and a half, the company has way over 10 million users. And it is the highest rated speech product on both iOS and Android with an office in the Silicon Valley. or another one, Rockflow Dynamics, which was once again very early stage, pretty much, you know, only, you know, tiny team with only you know, one local customer in Russia. The company doing big data software for specifically for analysis of geological data. So after a couple of years, the company has you know, solid, you know, double-digit $1 million revenue with strong presence internationally and with absolute majority of revenue coming from international markets. So remember, you know, there is more money than investors, and make sure that when you choose investors, you choose the right one.
To maybe continue very quickly, because I understand that the time is pressing, to continue on a couple of examples, specific examples from the region. I would go to Avangate, a Romanian company. It was founded by a Romanian entrepreneur with a very good track record, a few other successful exits, one to Microsoft with a security product, ROV, 10 years ago, and one to Naspers, PayU. Some of you might use PayU, some of you might use Avangate as a platform. And Avangate was an exit. We invested in that company. We helped them to delocalize from Romania to, actually they kept the office for development in Romania, but they went to the Silicon Valley for the sales and the marketing office. And that was actually a very good move, because in a couple of years they were able to secure a very good exit in terms of multiples, very high multiples, to Francisco Partners, a large private equity firm in the Bay Area. And for another example from a more early stage company, I would go to Semardis, also a Romanian company. They are manufacturing software for telecom, for SIM cards actually, and they are selling that globally. We are helping them with contacts, know-how, expertise to increase their international sales, so that today 90% of their sales are international. They are growing 50% year on year, and their markets are mainly in Middle East, North Africa, Turkey, and now more and more into the DACH countries, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. So these would be just a couple of examples where we are tracking success, but also we are tracking the kind of help that, let's say, the smart money can bring. So it's not only about the money, it's also about what the fund, what an investor can do for you other than the money.
Thank you, Marius. I think we are out of time, according to this panel. So I can assure you that Earlybird and Almaz also have success stories to speak about, and really can build really good companies out of this region. And I think, I don't know if they want us to stop or not. We have 6 minutes more potentially for Q&A if you believe the old schedule. So we wait for organizers to tell us what to do. If we don't have time for Q&A, I will urge you to speak to panelists after the session and to take their cards at least, so you can follow up and email them. Usually people are quite responsive, right, and happy to engage with entrepreneurs. And since I'm not being stopped, let's move to Q&A. Please. Can you have a microphone, please?
Let's give him one of the mics.
So we are very hands-on.
Play the organizer.
Hello, my name is Nina Alexander from Eastdale of Bulgaria. I was curious, what is more important to you, that the software you're investing in is innovative, or if the software is going to be solving a problem that is existing currently? Maybe sometimes.
That's a trick question.
I know.
That's a trick question. I mean, if the software solves a problem that has not found a solution or a good solution until now, it certainly is innovative, right? And
well, sometimes the software doesn't need to be very, very extremely creative to solve a problem that's existing.
Actually, you're right. I think
that's actually, in my mind, that's innovation. It's not necessarily to be unique, to be something that we have never seen. It's just that if it solves a problem in a better way than it was solved before, it has to be innovative. Vice versa, it's not true. I mean, in my mind, I'm not fond of projects that are just trying to be innovative at all cost. So basically, there has to be a problem behind to be solved. It's not enough for the software or the product to be innovative.
We will not invest even in a perfect solution to a non-existing problem.
Thank you.
Hello, guys, and thank you for being here and for listening to us. We hear all the stories about IoT and big data, and you're interested in investing. But I had a particular question about another technology that we didn't mention. And this is the first time that we can now make software move around in our 3D space. And those are drones, and their software, and their applications. Do you think in your company that you have room for that specific area? Because nowadays we'll see more and more of them policing our lands, our agricultural space, our borders, you know, doing fascinating things that before that were tremendously expensive and not available to pretty much no one. So is any of you guys interested in those technologies, or is simply old school software nowadays?
No, we already invested in a number of drone companies. We believe it's a basically subsection of Internet of Things. Those drones are on the one hand things, on the other hand those drones are basically capturing data that is being processed in the cloud using big data software. But this is, in our opinion, part of the Internet of Things revolution, and we are already investing in it.
Think of what Google is doing with the drones. They're trying to put them in the sky and provide connectivity to people. So it's basically what we do at Orange. So obviously we are looking at it.
To make a joke, these corporate ventures will invest in practically anything. I mean, if it crawls, if it flies, if it moves, they'll invest in it.
So I'm in. I'm just gonna pass my iPad to
right?
you in a little later.
Thank you. We are organizing a programming hackathon for students because we see a lot of potential in students developing innovative solutions, and it's something that we started 3 years ago and we want to expand in the region. Also, not only the event itself, but establishing its own incubator for these best ideas that will come through the event to the hackathon to be able to get further mentorship and investment. And I would like to ask if you would be interested in collaborating or investing in something like this. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We do that already with a number of events. Great promotion, by the way, but you didn't mention the name and the date, so.
It's called CodeFest, and we have an expo table over there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you have a full promo.
Everybody is happy to collaborate with hackathons and support sometimes as sponsors, maybe as coming there and mentoring the companies. I don't think as a business hackathon is very attractive to us.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I meant.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, so I think this is organizers. Should we wrap up? We have more things we can discuss easily. So should we go on?
Should we start asking the questions to the audience?
I think it's
okay. Let's wrap up.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
As time flies, the next panel discussion with the participation of Bulgarian entrepreneurs will begin now. Please welcome our moderator, the founder and chairman of the global Webit series of events, Mr. Plamen Rusev.
Do you have a mic? Hi. Guys, I see that you're about to go somewhere, but please stay, because now we're going to be talking to real champions from this part of the world, and happy to say, all of them from Bulgaria. I don't know if you know why you're giving this round of applause, because you're really, I'm going to show you some real-time heroes here. I don't know if there is a person who doesn't want to make an exit for $260 million. Well, I'm sure there are people that want to make it higher. And others who invest in startups in US, etc. So just a bit of a context. all we are doing here is especially for this last part of the Technology Summit, is supporting startups, supporting the entrepreneurial spirit, supporting the innovation and the opportunity to innovate through collaboration with enterprises. For the past 7 years, I've been investing in different companies around the world. For the past 20 years, I've been founding quite a lot of companies. Some of them exited, others bankrupted, third still active and successful in the fields like real estate, technology, etc. But these people here are the symbols of the successful Bulgarian entrepreneurs. And I'm really happy to be able to talk to them, with them in front of you. The funny thing is that with some of them, I've just met recently, even though we know each other for some time. Others are very close friends of mine. So now, a round of applause for Vasco, co-founder of Telerik, Ivo, founder of Wotopia, and Peter, founder of Chaos Group. Join me on the stage, gentlemen. Good to meet you. Thanks, Vasil. All right, you can just give you some mics around here. Yeah, this one. Ivo, welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay, we are going to be talking about, please feel at home. We're going to be talking now about, not only about your success, because you're a well-known story in Bulgaria, and I'm sure in the region, your names are also well heard. Just a bit of a context anyway. Starting from Peter, who is next to me. He is founder of Chaos Group, which most well-known product is called V-Ray. And some statistics, V-Ray is the product used by 85% of the architectural production around the world when it comes to 3D visualization. Also, a bunch of amazing Hollywood productions has been rendered with this product. Ivo is the largest producer in the world of artificial wall climbing systems. The largest in the world, again. It's not China, it's not India, it's Bulgaria. And Vasil has built with a couple of co-founders a company that recently has been acquired for $260 million. It's Telerik, one of the best UX platforms and platforms in general used around the world, still growing big. We were hoping that Vasil will be the first champion of Europe with 1 bill, but most probably it will.
Next time.
Next time. So, yeah, these are the people here on that very stage. I know that when we go to some other events in the States, on the same stage stay people who are founding 41 billion companies in evaluation. But you know what is the difference, guys? These are our people. And these people will never tell you that they can have any girl they want in the world. They might be such, but we wouldn't invite them on that stage. Because we believe that we are changing the world for better, that we are creating something together that really adds value to the societies that we live in. That's how we have selected these 3 people on that very stage. And we are going to be talking about this now. We're not going to be talking about how to make millions. Come and ask us after this. No secrets, and we all shared stories. We're going to be talking about our society, that we are changing, and how to make it a better place for everybody to be successful, or at least those that have the need, the power, the enthusiasm to commit their times, days and nights, their time during days and night to make the change. So, to start with, what do you think? What is your commitment to the society we live in? How large is the society that you want to change? Is it Bulgaria? Is it Sofia? Is it Central Eastern Europe? Is it Europe? Is it the world? Vasil?
Well, I take a gradual approach. First, change the people who are in your immediate reach before you start changing the world. change your company, create a company that has the right values, that is a sustainable business, where you prepare people for their next career, for their next company, and then change the city, then change the country, then change the region, and then change the world. I mean, it doesn't happen like overnight, changing the world. At least most of the time. Some people manage to do that, but my philosophy is a little bit more gradual. So at least my focus is on really continuing on the path we started around transforming the entrepreneurial ecosystem, building more product-focused companies, creating a knowledge industry, and that driving change in a lot of surrounding cities, areas, industries, and hopefully that spilling over to other places in our region.
So if we're talking here a lot about how we can boost the ecosystem, and you're doing it, we're all doing it one way or another. I've committed quite a lot of my time the past 7 years, but how do you see it in the next couple of years? And then I'll ask you guys to continue with answering the first and the second question. How do you see the ecosystem around us here in Central Eastern Europe developing? We had this great panel with investors just before us, and by the way, great investors also. It's been a heck of a job to bring investors a couple of years ago here to Bulgaria or to all events of Webit. Doesn't matter here or in Dubai or in Istanbul or now in Jakarta. Nobody wanted to come these places. Now already are interest, which is great, but what do you see next? I mean, some specific measures that you believe we should take in order to improve the ecosystem?
Well, it's not very specific, but it's the one that's needed. If every person in every company was doing their best every day, you would have amazing change. So we just have to instill that culture that you need to give your best, that every day matters, and every small task, every small initiative, every small company, that's going to lead a really, really big change. And that's, something with which I struggle, the overall mentality that, it's not my job. Until we continue looking at things that it's not my job to give my best, that I don't owe it to my employer, to myself, to society, nothing's going to change dramatically. Now, the good part is that there are a lot of people who actually think this way, that it's their obligation to give their best. It gives them inspiration and it drives other people. So as long as we just continue on the path we started, I think everything will come into play. You have accumulation of knowledge, you have more and more good companies popping up, you have capital, you have infrastructure. So it's just about continuing on the chosen strategy and continuing to work on this together. This is the one thing that impresses me about our industry, that it's probably one of the most united around a common goal, where people work together to achieve something better for the whole industry and not just for their specific business.
Okay, Ivo, you're not in the IT itself, even though you already invest in IT project together with Peter, but how do you see it in general about entrepreneurial? Because when we see entrepreneurs, we only think about IT. It's not true. I mean, investing in different type of companies, and it could be agricultural, and again, evolving solutions. It could be things that you're doing. So what do you see, and how do you think we can really add value further?
To add value to the industry,
to the ecosystem of
growing
up here.
So I think one thing is needed in this ecosystem. Yes, here most of the people are IT, ICT. Is there anyone who is not in the IT industry here? Please raise your hand. There are some, and I used to be not just in the IT. By the way, I didn't invest in this company. I founded it. The auction I saw. I'm in the IT as well now, so the thing that we lack here, it's not money. There is more money than ever in the world. There is more money than ever here in Bulgaria. Everywhere, lots of money, cheap money. Nowhere it has never been like this. So much cheap money. The thing that we lack are entrepreneurs. This is what we need. So and we need hardworking people, entrepreneurs and hardworking people.
My money are not cheap. What do you mean cheap money?
Yeah,
if I invest in a company, it's not cheap at all. Actually, I always tell that my money are the most expensive money when I give it somewhere.
But the price of money is lower than ever before in the world. You could lend the rate of lending is something like 2% now. Money are cheaper than ever, and there is more money than ever. This is easy. If you have idea, energy, and if you are ready to wait and work hard for at least 5 years, everything will be okay. So the thing that we need, by the way, in this ecosystem are hard-working people. And the single most important thing that should be done, but again, this couldn't be done solely by us, by the entrepreneurs, is to make possible for any hard worker who wants to come here to work from all around the world, to make it easy for him, not to the social system abusers, which is the general situation in Western Europe. No, like in Dubai, people who want to work, they're welcome, come and work. And we could get, let's say, 20% of the people that are going to work in Dubai. You know, in Dubai there is 80% of the people are expats there. So why not 20% of them to come here, to work here, and there's no social system there. And they have hard workers. So I think this is the single most important thing that we could do here.
You know, before I ask Peter to comment on this, I've never used my position as founder of the event to ask somebody to give a word. Now I'm going to do it for 3 of you. Of course, you have the right not to do it. But I started a initiative, or let's say started is a very strong word. It's still early, but I started talking to many people, and I'll do it now in front of the audience here and you, to launch a program to import between 500,000 and 2 million Indians to Bulgaria.
Why in particular Indians? Why
because
not?
I mean, I don't want to sound like
Ukrainians?
bad now. I think this should not be commented here at this very stage. But there are certain reasons why.
You love curry.
But let's say it. I mean, okay. If you bring 2 million Chinese here, you have little China immediately settled up somewhere. Indians are great people, hardworking. They never bring communities around them. They very easily become part of the community. And we are only 7 million, even less. 2 million Indians will make a miracle for this country. We can bring them here with some policy making together and with a special tests. Anyway, we're doing event in India. So we start testing people from the IT industry if they're qualified. Have you ever been swimming in India?
Yes.
No.
Where? In a swimming pool?
Yes.
It's not possible. Once you go to a swimming pool, it's full of people. You cannot swim. You can go on their heads. There are that many in the swimming pool.
It depends where you are.
Yeah, few hotels are different, I agree. But in majority, it's the lifestyle here is truly amazing for these people. If we bring to Bulgaria a few thousand.
But if you compare a lifestyle here with the lifestyle in London, lifestyle here is really amazing.
It's
not just
compared to anywhere else. We can make another comparison about money, which we've done together with you, Peter, if you remember. But if we start working on that, bringing large quantities of people, let's choose one country first, and then we can continue. I don't know if you've read the book of Economist 2050, by the formula there, which is applicable to all nations in the world, Bulgaria will not be existing by Bulgarians will not be existing by 2050. There is a formula that shows how and when a nation can appear and disappear. And once you go after the peak, then you cannot go back. So based on the numbers in Bulgaria, based on the simple numbers of babies being born and deaths, we cannot move on.
You're speaking to some Bulgarian men here. They didn't lose their capability of
right.
making
also
kids.
And also other people around the world. This formula is public. So that's the reality. Let's face it. It is the reality. It's mathematics and statistics. Everybody can Google it. This is formula which is also approved by UN, so it's very clear. So in order to save nations in this part of the world, not only Bulgaria, by the way, we either have to be creative or not, and then save it or not, being bold or not. There is nothing in the middle. It's the same with the entrepreneurs, you're either being bold or not. So if we start importing clever people, bringing up power here, and giving them legislative arrangements like you work for 10 years in order to get permanency. I mean, solutions like this are doable with our support if the business goes behind it.
Fully agree with you.
If we start working on a project like this, it's quite easy to protect this decision in front of EU, because otherwise Bulgaria is just disappearing. So do you want a disappearing country member of the EU or not? It's a pure business decision and a pure business proposal. So I know it's a long topic. I think we talked with Vasil some time ago, so it's not new for him. But would you be behind something like this?
Fully behind.
I would absolutely support anything that makes the life of anyone better.
This will not make the life of all the local software engineers better.
Or actually, it will.
Because it will become... Not all of them, the lazy ones will suffer.
Oh, come on.
But
it will become even better ecosystem, Ivo.
I fully agree.
It will establish Bulgaria as an amazing destination.
Absolutely agree.
It will make the beautiful city of Varna, which is dying right now, my city, it will make it another hub for developers. The same will apply to many other cities in the Balkan and other places. And who else can do it if not us?
There is no reason to convince me. I strongly believe in this.
Absolutely supporting it.
Vasil is keeping quiet though.
I'll give you a third support if you know both.
That was important.
But you know, I don't think it's just a matter of pure numbers. And we have other things to do before we start working on the numbers, because you know, when a business model or an idea is not working terribly well, if you put more funding into it, you just scale the problem.
Absolutely.
So we have to invest in the things which are lacking, which is entrepreneurship, which is, you know, changing the mindset of people, which is all of us going into the exercise of building a better system by giving and teaching others to give, meaning knowledge, support, everything, and scaling that. And once we find that model and we build that culture within the society or within our industry for a start, then we can start, you know, working the numbers and scaling the model with additional people.
And I would actually add to that completely agree with Vasil, and I would add that what you said solves a specific problem. I would add that we can solve the same problem in many other ways as well. So I would support an initiative like that. But as he said, it's very important that we make sure we build the right culture in this country. Because think about it. Think about the average Bulgarian. If all of a sudden we know the local problems here, the social problems, the racial problems, the moment you bring in 2 million people from a different culture and a different race in this country, that may actually introduce a completely new problem that was never here before at this scale, at least. So what I'm saying is that, as Ival shortly mentioned, I would focus on education. I would focus on many other things along with bringing more people on board of this country. Because sorry, just to...
No, go ahead, yeah.
And you mentioned something about saving the nation. How do we define the nation? Think about it. How do you define the nation? Because saving the nation may mean saving the racial aspect of the nation. It could mean saving the cultural aspect of the nation. It could mean bringing the history of the nation on board of whatever we're doing today, because nowadays we are all flooded by the Western culture and we're absolutely abandoning our own principles that were here only about 20 years ago. And if you think about it, then actually saving the nation could mean probably bringing new people and educating them to be Bulgarians. Or it could mean educating our own society, because out of these 7 million, there's a lot of people who could actually work, and it would take just an educational process to turn them into what we want to have on board. Entrepreneurs, hardworking people, I'm sure all three of us know what we talk about, because I'm sure none of us has been working less than 12 hours when we were starting, and in many cases we would work up to 16 and 18 hours a day, Saturdays, Sundays, weekends, holidays, everything. I'm sure all three of us have done that, and I'm sure all of us are very familiar
I've been only
with
working 1 hour per day. So 8 working.
And on top of that, you also don't need, just to add to what he said, a lot of people. You can create more value with the people you have. And for example, this is one of the places where we are investing. How do you make more out of what you have? How do you get a better return on your human capital, on knowledge, rather than just keep the same knowledge but scale it with numbers? And I'm pretty sure it can work just as well for the economic benefit and the future of our country.
Yeah, but listen, we're talking about mathematics. It's not about what we wish, it's about what happens, really. It's about disappearing of, and when you say what is nation, nation is all about that, what you said. That's the nation. And here also we're not talking about abandoning our own educational programs. It's about bringing more educated people with tests, with clear, arrangements of what we need and how we need it. And I think it's doable because these people are looking for a better life. Like, now let's go back to some of the how to call it, let's say the clever people think about how to sell their how to buy their salaries and to find their salaries, to sell their work, their labor. We made a simple calculation that if you go to Vienna and being a developer, you get approximately 80K per year. And then you got the taxes, and you get the other, first you pay your securities, then you pay your taxes, and then you end up with approximately 35K per year net. When you pay your 1,000 and let's say 1,000 apartment per year, then you end up with 2,000 per month. So 2,000 is a salary that all of you give for beginners here, right? For juniors. About that. So let's start talking about this mathematics, because we are losing our young, clever people who are going to live in a place which is quite more expensive for the same money they get here in Bulgaria. Nobody's talking about this.
Yes, but in many cases people leave not because of the cash.
But because of?
But because of the culture.
Lack of justice.
Okay.
And I believe that there is lack of justice here, yeah.
Okay.
Which is not the very case, by the
Is
way.
it like this?
At least there's a strong perceived notion of lack of justice.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have to go all around the world to really start understanding and loving what you left.
By the way, one of my partners in one of my companies is British, and he lives in Bulgaria for 7 years now, no, 8 years. And he's telling me Bulgaria is the safest place where I have been. Compared to England, Bulgaria is safer, much safer. And I trust him. Have you been to Britain? Of course, many of you have been. You have seen so much budlivatel. How is this in English?
Barbed wire.
Barbed wire.
Yeah, all around the buildings, factories, houses.
Yeah.
Where is this in Bulgaria? Stolen. Good.
Who said stolen? I told
joke
you
was good, but
I
this is
told
not the
you
truth.
yesterday that not the nayers, the optimists are going to change the world, for God's sake. Right.
We should spread the word that Bulgaria is a good place for business. It is a good place for business. It is a good place for living.
You know,
and we should be a little bit more bold. Entrepreneurs like us, we are representatives of the good cast of entrepreneurs. And we're not bandits. We're not thieves. We didn't start with any kind of crony business or nothing like this. So we're good entrepreneurs.
You sure?
For me, I am. And for you, I know. So we're that kind of people. Yeah. Aren't you?
I don't know. People say a lot of things.
It's not the right time to ask now.
Okay. Too many witnesses.
So we should be more bold. I'm bold. He is close to. We should be bolder and to to push this country to require more?
Yeah, we have to believe more. That's one of the worst things in a Bulgarian culture, is that we're very pessimistic about everything. And this is one of the first things I would actually start changing. And this is one of the first things I always start changing with people who come on board of our company. Because people say, this cannot be done, this is too difficult, and so on. I remember when we were starting like 15 years ago, people were saying, a company from Bulgaria going to for a presentation at Walt Disney Studios? Really? Not fucking possible, pardon my French. It did happen. And actually one of our biggest competitors is within that same company. At the same time, those guys did use our software at the same time. And I'm not going to mention some of the studios, but the biggest Hollywood studios in the world use our software. Developed by a bunch of guys here, 20 minutes of driving distance from this place. And if you start thinking about it, the only thing that happened is, obviously we are smart, helps a lot. But the thing that really mattered a lot is that we believed in ourselves. We did not care about what the Bulgarian society said about what we can and cannot do. It's exactly that simple. And this is IT, this is software. Because of us, because of our beliefs, because of our system, because of what we did, we managed to get a major German company acquired because they could not handle themselves anymore. Because of what we did, a major American company was acquired because they could not handle the competitive push from us. Because of us, major car manufacturers in the world produced their visuals. By saying major, think about the first 3 biggest car manufacturers in the world. A lot of what you see on their website was done because of our software, because of our team. If I would have said this 15 years ago, everybody in this country would have laughed at me. The Bulgarian sarcasm, you know what I'm talking about, is ridiculous. I'm sarcastic myself, but I believe that we can definitely change the world. Absolutely.
Another.
Wow. Okay.
Another important thing that we should do, we should be visible. People like us should be more visible.
That's why you're on the stage, mate.
We are good examples for the society, really. And people should believe that it is possible, with hard work, to succeed. People just don't believe here.
You know, yesterday I said it for the whole region. You know, it's a strange situation we're in. And me personally, first, amazing speech. Every single word, it touches my heart, and I'm sure that the heart of every single person here in this room. Doesn't matter if you're from Bulgaria or not. I think it's more or less, without generalizing, for the whole region, with some differences, but I know quite everybody who is doing something in the ecosystem here and around the world. But I think that all of us here have been called crazy at a certain point of our lives, truly crazy. You know, when I switched from my real estate investments into doing, because I had quite a lot of free time back then, in doing Webit, it's very crazy. Now, Webit is a multi-billion business all around the world, and we are changing societies where we go one way or another. When we started doing outsourcing many years ago, 1998, my mother and father called me crazy because they didn't understand what I'm doing at all. Still doesn't understand, by the way, but my father. So being called crazy is great, I believe, one way or another, but what we have to create is a nation or society of dreamers. People should start dreaming real time. Dreaming about the future in a way that, not that going to have a great house and blah blah, but dreaming of changing the world. When I talk to startups who are pitching me, telling me how rich they're gonna become because they're gonna sell billions or millions, that's total bullshit. I want to hear how they're going to change people's lives. And if we all start dreaming about changing people's lives through what we can do together, how to change the life of our family, how to change the life of our society that is around us, friends and family, how we can change the life of our business network, and then our nation, and then our region. I believe these are the dreamers that we lack here. And I see a bunch of them. That's why I wanted to see them here on the stage with me. I'm sure that here in the room there are other dreamers. I love to talk to dreamers. And I hope the system that is now in this country and the countries around will start creating dreamers. Not people who can calculate, but who can dream big. And then, of course, you have to be able to calculate on the way. So, how can we create dreamers? Do you agree that dreamers are needed for our society?
Yeah. Educate them, that's what I say. By saying education, I don't mean academic education. I mean educate how they think, educate what they dream about, educate how they live their lives. Because, as you mentioned, the cash at the end is the result of everything else before that. And a lot of people focus on the results. One of the most ridiculous talks that I pretty much listen every time I talk to startups is that question, what are you guys going to do? First thing they say, we're building an application, and that's it. I'm already bored at that specific point. You don't start your business idea by saying, we are going to build a mobile app. Today it's a mobile app, tomorrow it's going to be a completely different thing. Your business is not a mobile app. Your business is a service, a product that makes people's life easier, better, faster, whatever it is, improves people's lives. And this is very important. This kind of mindset is something that really should start, I use the word installing, but it's more kind of software where would be educating people that this is where we start.
Yeah. Just to add to what Peter said, one of the things I see is that people focus too much on the end result and not on the game. The end result is a result of a perfect game, you playing better than your opponent. And how your opponent plays is not entirely in your control. How you play, how much you practice, how much diligence you show, commitment is what really defines, are you gonna start beating your opponents at some point or not? And that's entirely in your control. And this brings me to another key word which is associated with dreamers, and that's freedom. I think most people don't really understand the word in its totality. And it's the thing that I have, it's the biggest thing I got out of my 12-year experience. Being free from, the social prejudice, from my focus on the end game rather than on my play, from not blaming the world around me. I just learned that everything is more or less a choice in my control. Either I do something or I don't do something, and I pay the price of doing or not doing. And you have to boil down things to what's in your control. That's the meaning of freedom. Once you do that, you start dreaming and you start acting on that dream. But before that, you're just a prisoner and you look for those shiny objects to really give you meaning, but it's a shallow meaning.
And I have one proposition. It's not an advice, it's a proposition. In this industry, the word exit is overused. Generally, I don't like this word because who wants to exit his business? If I invest here and there, but when I hear someone telling me about his exit strategy before he even created a product, it's not good. You shouldn't think about exits. Good businesses are done by people who doesn't think about exits, but about developing the company. I still don't think about exit. I'm 45, my company is 17 years old. I still don't think about exit. I enjoy doing this business. So don't overuse this word, fucking word, exit.
Yes. Here still there are some investors here. I'm sure that once they hear the word exit, they would never, I'm talking about VCs, not business angels like this. Once you hear exit, you don't invest, right? Is that right? You do exit when you hear or when you think, because there's a difference. That when I said when you hear from the founders the word exit, are you investing? I wouldn't too. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry, I interrupted somebody.
Yeah, I was just about to add, a lot of this is a problem. The exit strategy, the thinking about the final result before you've actually developed anything as a product. A lot of this has to do with the education that is done by the media and a lot of the education done by our schools as well. And it's a problem that I think that's a fundamental problem of the wrong mindset of people. Let me give you an example. I do interviews occasionally here and there. Magazines ask for my presence. And some time ago, one of the guys asked me a question. And they said, why are you less popular than Mityu Pishtova in Bulgaria?
Mityu Pishtova is a guy.
Sure. Don't even try to explain for the people who don't know.
Yeah, it's a guy you don't get compared to. Let's say it like this. Okay, go ahead.
So the idea is that I gave him an answer. They did not publish that in the interview. They did not like the answer. I told them, Mityu Pishtova is the product of media. You are the media. You tell me why you make a person like Mityu Pishtova more popular than myself.
That's a good one.
It did not make it into the interview, into the final print, but for obvious reasons. But that's the thing. The problem is that there is no driving force behind the media. There's no driving force behind the schools to educate the people that the kind of car you drive is not important. The kind of house you have is not important. It's more of how you live your life and what do you share at one point in your life with people around you who want to learn. If you are after funds from Europe, that's great. What do you tell your children after 20 years? I was successful because I managed to bribe the right people. Is that what you tell your children? Is that what you're proud of? Are you telling them, oh yes, I got that project from the EU? I'm not saying that cash is not important. I'm saying that because of all of this mindset change in Bulgarians, now in Bulgaria, European funds are more important than doing actual business. And this is something that I really hate, because everybody's after Euro funds. And this is, again, the media, the education, and the daily lives, everything educates us. And I honestly believe that it's people like us four, and I'm sure there's more people in Bulgaria, who would actually be the ones to change this mindset. And I think about it, you asked earlier about kind of social responsibilities we have. For me, one of our main social responsibilities is to educate people that media is wrong, school is wrong, everybody's wrong, and you gotta change your life to be happy.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, and just to add to this, because I really want to say it, I have an audience, so why not use the opportunity? It really, that's an important part of giving, and that's the best thing we can give. It's helping others replicate our success by transforming internally, by sharing the things that led us to believe what we believe, to share some of the values that brought us here, and expecting that all of this help, material, non-material, etc., is really given down the stream, meaning we help you today. The moment we help you, it's your obligation to start transforming several other people around you, because only in this way can it scale and can we achieve a critical mass of people who want and can change something. And speaking of change, we've been called crazy, right? Many times. I am saying all the time lately that in 20 years this is going to be a different country. Very positively different.
I fully agree with you.
And
Absolutely.
many people don't believe. Many people don't believe that, but I'm willing to bet on that. So
we need to import the Indians.
I'm willing to bet
Bintu,
as well.
That's how it's gonna take. Otherwise, it's
if
not gonna
that's
be
all
existing.
it takes.
That's the problem. That's why I'm telling you, we have to work hard.
Listen, guys. Well
okay.
Okay.
Talks of people with millions on the stage. Let's talk about things. Let's get practical. What's your daily routine? Vase, what you doing? How's your day? How does your day look like?
Pretty
Let's talk about discipline, okay? Let's go through this. Because we're talking about blah, blah, blah. It's about discipline, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
A perfect everyday discipline. So what time do you wake up?
7:30-ish.
Good.
Bring the kids to school, go at more or less the same time to the office, have a coffee, check email, refine the plan for the day. I block a few hours for work in the morning so that I don't get interrupted with meetings and other stuff. At least most of the days I focus on the deliverables in front of me. Lunch, I'm
in happy.
in happy where we bump into each other. Then go back, do some more work until 4 p.m. That's when the East Coast wakes up. We start having calls, meetings. Go back home and do a few calls and meetings with the West Coast because they're running 10 hours behind. Read a book. The rest, is not for the audience. Get some sleep and same thing over and over. And in between, you have to, squeeze in time with the kids. And Saturday and Sunday are just for the kids.
After the thing that is not for the audience, what time do you go to sleep really?
Depends on the day.
I mean, average working day?
12:30, 1.
Average working day around
12 hours.
12. Ivo?
The same. Very the same.
Okay. Better?
Depends. I'm kind of weird this way because I usually wake up between 3 and 6 in the morning. Depends on the day. And I usually go to bed around 11ish in the evening. And lately I've been working usually between 12 to 14 hours.
Do you believe there is a technology that can make you live forever?
No.
No, and that's the beauty of
My,
life.
my young son believes so. He really believes, and he's much more clever than I am. So I'm starting to believe as well.
Since I'm asking you questions, I'll be frankly with you. I do believe. I'm living like I'm going to live forever. Not only because I feel the love of my friends and family, and we do share the same routine of waking up. We got about 6:30 because the guys in Middle East are already awoke. But then I start another routine, which is about myself. I spend minimum 2 hours per day only for myself, taking care of me with some special procedures. Have you heard about the 5 Tibetans, the 5 Tibet men? You do? Only 1, 2? How many of you? Google. If you Google it, the guy who told me, he's a cool guy, I love him. He told me about this some 7, 8 years ago. It's an amazing exercise for your body and soul, energy. So 5 Tibetans. And then actually I've taught, since every morning the kids didn't want to wake up with their mother. They were lazy with their mother. I said, it's my turn. I will take care of you because they're 2 boys. I wanted to make them to put the same discipline. So I wake them up at 7:30. Make them a special cocktail of lemons, herbs, and stuff because I want them to live forever too, or at least to be alive when the pill becomes available. And then we think if we can bear the responsibility or not. But there will be a choice. They drink this thing, and then we do the 5 Tibetans together. And then we do the same routine every day, plus swimming every morning. I believe that a successful entrepreneur should pay at least 2 hours to himself every day, because that's how you can make the miracles happen. Otherwise, one day this machine will stop working, and you're responsible for the change.
Sport is important.
So do you go sport?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if you have a chance to live forever, will you?
No.
At least I will try hard. I will.
I definitely won't, as much as this pains me, but knowing that you're mortal and that you're gonna die really accelerates some of the decisions you make. Otherwise, you just squander time.
Do you know what I've read, and it makes me think? Do you know when a moment of eternity passes? When an eagle comes to a mountain picks a piece that he can pick and leaves, and every 1,000 years this repeats. A moment of eternity disappears when the mountain disappears. So it's such a long moment, and we have only, what, 100 years of lifespan. Why don't you choose to live longer?
But if you start being philosopher, you will stop being entrepreneur.
It's not philosophy.
Be careful.
It's not philosophy. It's a business. You have more time. The only thing that we cope for every day is our time. If you don't want more time, what do you want?
Agree about time.
So Vasco wants to have the pressure of the time all the time.
Yeah, because that's when you are working in a world of finite resources. Your most treasured resource is finite, and you have to make choices, and that forces good decision making. In business, if you don't have constraints, you don't have creativity, you don't have innovation, you become lazy. Same for life.
I absolutely support that, and it's very important that, I'll give you an example. In the morning, people wake up, and they have to get out of bed. The decision-making process of when exactly to get out of bed is very, very different with everyone. Different people are motivated by different things to get out of bed.
That's why the pill will be given only to people who can motivate their own and take their own decisions with their own internal push, not pushed by the external factors.
So it's complicated. Some people are motivated by the fact that they're going to be late if they continue lying in bed. Some people are motivated by the fact that they're going to have a great day, and the only reason they're not having a great day is because they're still in bed.
Do you have other questions for life, eternity, etc.? I saw a hand over there. Could you please, can you bring a mic there, please? We are not internal, for God's sake. Please, faster. Yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
I hope I can make my question that simple, because we are all talking about how beautiful Bulgaria can be in 10 years.
And we are talking about this in English, so everybody can understand.
Yes. But the reality is today. And today, Bulgaria is less beautiful than 10 years ago. Although the technologies is everything developed. All of the guys you developed, I remember Telerik 10 years ago in one building where Orbital was located, and they changed a lot for this period, and everybody. But the reality, guys, is that we have a problem in our country, and I feel that the IT industry is divided. We are in a digital divide. We exist, and the other, not half, the other 99% exist. But I don't think we speak enough between each other. So what I want to say is that really, if we want to start the change, we need to be more active as an industry.
Well, can I make a comment on this one? Because I had the same type of conversation with a friend who's a doctor, and he said it can't be all IT. I mean, you need to have doctors, you need to have lawyers, you need to have everything. I'm like, yeah, sure. But having more of us, which create value, which are a net importer of cash, creates a lot of opportunity for everyone around us. You know, look at Mladost. We support 50 or 20 local businesses, like pretty much any restaurant. You go to lunch, it's our people, your people.
Yeah.
So if we didn't exist, those guys wouldn't exist. So change happens by somebody finding an industry, an opportunity where they can make a difference. We invest in that, it becomes bigger, you build around it. In the adjacent industry, you create more know-how, more knowledge, and that's how you
It's very
transform.
ineffective. I mean, evolution is nice, but
well, that's how it works.
All of you are talking about anti-system, how we can change. We are anti-system players.
You're a positive person, aren't you?
You are very
and that's
positive.
why,
Come on.
and
Yeah.
you know, if you can't change the system. I mean, how are you gonna change the system? I'm gonna be, Minister of IT. He's gonna be Prime Minister tomorrow, and he's gonna be a Minister of Finance, and we're gonna start changing the country. It doesn't work that way. In order to change in a country in a sustainable way, you need a critical mass of people who think differently, who act differently, who know that change is with them, not with the system. This is what freedom is. It's about you knowing that everything you matter today, tomorrow, is a change in the system. You picking up that little piece of trash on the street rather than complaining that it's dirty is change. You helping somebody else think in a better way, that's change. And after some point, when you have enough people doing that, you're gonna have enough good ideas, you're gonna have enough of a moral police, you're gonna have less trash on the street. And that's how we'll transform. And it's not, it doesn't happen overnight. Unfortunately, it takes time. But that's the only way in which you can create sustainable change, by knowing that it's within you, doing that every day, and trying to get more people on board.
I'd like to say something here. Still, the best thing entrepreneur could do to change the society is to do his business well. This is the best thing. 99% of the things that he should do is to make his business successful. If his business is successful, people in his company are getting better salaries, they live better life. There is no any reason for an entrepreneur to lose his focus changing the world. This is the best way for him to change the world. And yes, this guy is right. IT industry is very well developed compared to the other industries. Okay, this is their problem. The other industries should do the same. IT industry is good because there are hard workers and clever people there. Let the other industry do the same.
And it wasn't the same case.
Absolutely.
This is responsibility of the other industry, and there is single reason why. The big part of the other industry, of the traditional industry in Bulgaria, was bought in the past and owned by pseudo entrepreneurs, by thieves and bandits. That's why this industry was not really developed. It was destroyed. But this process is almost done. This industry is almost destroyed, and if there is some wreckages of it, they will disappear forever. And the new industry is growing. Companies like mine, like his, okay, this is IT, but my companies are not IT, and in the same time they are the best in the world, and we have quite good success, and we have quite good growth. So don't bother. Industries are going quite well, the new industries in this country. I'm so optimistic.
Yeah, I would just say that there's two major ways I completely disagree with the statement of the gentleman. First of all, obviously, Ival was a very good example of an industry that has absolutely nothing to do with IT and still be number one in the world. And it's not because of IT, it's not because of outsourcing, it's because he's been working hard, he's got smart people, they've been working hard, and that's the result of it. And I absolutely agree that one of the reasons a lot of these industries died was that a lot of politics were involved, a lot of that business went into the wrong hands, and this is the result. Second way I completely disagree is Bulgaria is not less beautiful than 10 years ago.
Completely agree with you.
How is it less
better
beautiful?
than 10 years ago.
If you can actually convince me how is it worse, I'll be absolutely shockingly surprised.
Okay, guys.
10 years ago we were younger, but
it's okay.
Thing.
I mean, this is beautiful or not, it's fine, but whatever. I mean, obviously we started talking about things that could take hours and days and months to discuss, but it's great that we show our positions one way or another. So if there are other, we are so much over time that it cannot be more. But obviously it can. So do you have one more question? And now again, you see, if you're optimistic, things happen. So there is even time for one more question.
Okay, thank you for your discussion. We will speak about what you tell from there. You say the problem, and one of the problem is the education. I'm now finished my education and my bachelorate, and I have so many theory in my hand,
but not practice. And I think the business will change this with the education without the government. And for example, I think Telerik is good because they make their academy. But the other business like Wotopia, what you will make for this, how you make opportunity for the youngest because they need practice at their university. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You're right about the word practice. And practicing English is also a good one. By the way, English is the most important language for the future of each and every person in this room. Unfortunately, Bulgarian is not that widely, commonly used in the business world. So if anybody wants to be successful, obviously you cannot be that successful in Bulgaria. We all do our businesses outside of Bulgaria. The same applies even for Turkey with that many million people. I mean, it's still an opportunity if you have a market of over 50. But if you're going abroad and if you want to be successful, English is a must, and then all the rest of the languages. But Wotopia, I saw what you're doing for the youngest. My kids are always here in your addictive place, which we have to talk about.
But this we do for business, not to help.
That's what I was going to say.
This is for business. This is the most sustainable way to help. If you have good business,
Absolutely.
I told you that. So what we'll do for the young people, we constantly have at least 10, maybe 20 open positions in our company for young people. If they are good, we will hire them. What else we should do? How do you think? To make academy? No, we don't. We considered to make something like Telerik, but I don't think it is worth it in our industry. We have a school in one of our companies where we teach people before we, after we hire them, but this is different thing. No, I don't think that it is our responsibility to teach all the youth of the country. I just don't think so. My responsibility is to make my business profitable and to develop the people that I hired. This is my responsibility.
Yeah, and just
That's
to
what
add,
I think.
Yeah, just to add, the academy, our academy was driven largely by the business before turning into something bigger with a much bigger societal impact. But if our business wasn't doing well, it didn't have the ideas, it didn't have the need, didn't have the funding, it would have never worked out. So first thing is, as Ivo said, really focus on the business, and based on the business needs, see what type of people you need, how you can educate them, what are the systems, do you have to partner with universities? That's what we wanted to do, but we couldn't, so that's why we built it. It's different mechanics, but the first thing is, focusing on your business, and if there's enough good businesses with enough good people in them, it's going to drive everything else.
I think this is very important what you're saying now, and if you let me to rephrase it in other words, when we do something for business or whatever it is, he's helping because he has business. This is very common in this part of the world, especially in Bulgaria. There he goes. He's doing it because he has business out of it. Of course. Mm-hmm. What would you expect? Oh, there he's going there because blah, blah, blah. Imagine if you do things that doesn't bring you business. This means that you're doing things that are giving you loss. Collective loss means bankruptcy. Collective bankruptcy means no opportunities at all. So obviously, this is part of the Bulgarian mindset that people are, if they have money, they are obliged to do something for the society only. Yes, we are, and all we are. But why do you have to do it only for the society? You have, at the end of the day, to be sustainable. It's the same like sending my money, and I've sent quite a lot of money for African causes. And when I went to Africa, I saw how these money go into the sands. Because the people there cannot actually do anything with them, or they're just wasting them, because they just came from nowhere for nothing. The only sustainable way to change the society is through a business model that actually, in order to be sustainable, has to be business-oriented.
Profitable.
And at the end of the day, profitable. So if we all in this room think that you do whatever you do for the society, and of course it has to bring value, and never charge the efforts of somebody with the wording, yeah, he's doing it because he has business out of it, but actually, great, he's doing it, he has business and he's helping. I believe this will change a lot of our lives around us.
May I say something on top of it? The best measure of value is profit. The best measure of value created in a company is the profit of the company. If the company doesn't make profit, it doesn't create value. It destroys value. Yeah. So the most profitable companies in the world are those who create the biggest value in this world. So one more time, the best thing a businessman could do for the society is to create value. This is our job, to create value. And value is measured by profit. So the most profitable companies are the best one.
I just add to that, going for profit, but still with some moral system in place. Because just going after, it's clear for you, but it's not clear for many people that you need to go after profit, but with the right set of beliefs, so that you look at things in a sustainable way, in a little bit unselfish way, where you see that it's your primary obligation to create profit, but to also to teach others how to create profit, because ultimately sometime down the road it creates a healthier ecosystem and you're going to be even more thriving, but it's just not a direct line to profit.
Thank you for this. So let's say it like this, and really we can continue afterwards, but we have to free the stage for the next one, I believe, or whatever. But making profit while changing the lives of people for better.
Yes.
You agree?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Thank you very much. Guys, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Peter.